All right, welcome into the post-game recap of whatever that was in Oxford today. Ole Miss gets a win, 24-21 over Washington State. It was a hideous football game for Ole Miss. They didn't win, so there's that. I mean, they won the game. That is the important thing. But aside from winning the game, that was an ugly, ugly performance from the Ole Miss football team. With just now 1 week away from having to go to Athens. How much of that was just looking ahead? How much of that was sleepwalking? Probably a good bit of it, but an ugly performance nonetheless. And we're here to recap it together on this edition of the Rebel Report podcast. My name is Michael Borky. Really glad that you guys are here. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Just search Rebel Report, subscribe, and leave a rating and a review. And also right here on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I would appreciate all of that. If you hear background noise after the football game, I put something on YouTube, so I've got like 15 minutes of quality time to recap this game with you guys, and then I got to get back to being dad. So glad you guys are here. Podcast is brought to you in part by Toyota of Brookhaven. Check them out at toyotaofbrookhaven.com. That's their website. You can see their online inventory. They're also off of Exit 40, obviously in the great Mississippi city of Brookhaven, and they will take care of you. They'll also give you $1,000 off on me, any in-stock new Toyota. When you buy it, $1,000 off before anything else, just off the top, $1,000 if you just tell them that I sent you. They've got great in-house financing, one of the highest-rated service departments in the state. Toyota of Brookhaven will take care of you. Check them out, toyotaofbrookhaven.com or Exit 40 in Brookhaven. Quick scan through the box score. Ole Miss wins 21-24. Trinidad, not his best day. In fact, he was bad for him, right? He's given you three high-level performances against better teams than the one that he faced today. But today he wasn't sharp. Deep ball especially off. Missed a couple of intermediate routes as well. He was 20 of 29 for 253 and a pair of touchdowns. But that stat line doesn't tell the story. He was really off today. And we'll get to some of that more in a second, to be honest, because I think there was some way overreaction to the game that he played today. But we'll get to that later. Kewan Lacey, without him, Ole Miss does not win. For a period of time, it felt like he was the only player on the field that showed up ready to play today. 24 carries, 142 yards. That's 6 per carry. Trinidad also had a rushing touchdown in the game. This was a game where you were hoping that you would get a lot of carries for Logan Diggs and Damian Taylor, and that just didn't happen because Ole Miss could not find themselves a lead in this game. Daquan Wright led the Rebels in receiving. He had 80 yards and a touchdown. Dejon Stribling had 63 yards. Caden Lee had 3 for 56 and a touchdown. Ole Miss lost a fumble. It was a fumble from Trinidad, obviously. Leading the Rebels in tackles was Cam Franklin. He had a sack and a half. Wyatt Williams had 6 tackles as well. So did Taj Chambers and TJ Daugherty. I think the Ole Miss defensive line in the second half was pretty good. Uman Mielen had a sack. He missed another one as well. Will Eccles had a big sack there on the final possession for Washington State. For the Cougars offensively, I mean, they threw for 219 on 7 per. So it was fine for the Ole Miss defense in spots anyway. They ran for 127 yards on 4.5 per. They had that long of 46. Take that away, and maybe, not the same, but you can't take that away. Horrible run fit from Sage Ryan, and just not good. Not good for Ole Miss, really, in any phase of the game besides Kewan Lacey. I mean, without him, Ole Miss loses the game today, and it was really, really sloppy. Uninspired. All of the adjectives that you want to throw out there are accurate. Uninspired, sleepy, slept-walked, whatever. I mean, this is a Washington State team that's given up 59 points twice this season. Not a banner day for the Ole Miss offensive line. I issued a mea culpa after the LSU game, but today is why I was so concerned about the offensive line, because they showed some of this in earlier games as well. Not a banner day for them at all. And just nobody was particularly good. You had some inopportune penalties. You had, again, the aforementioned bad run fit, but he wasn't the only one on defense. Trinidad was off. just a really bad day. Now, look, they won the game. Again, that's the important thing. They won the game, but a very uninspiring performance. And what you hope it is, because, I mean, look, Washington State is worse than Arkansas. They are, I would argue, they're worse than Tulane, and they are most definitely worse than LSU. So Ole Miss at their best is not this, right? This was not them at their best. This was them at possibly their worst. Sloppy, uninspired, all of those things. So what you hope is you just chalk that up to, I mean, Lane Kiffin admitted himself that they spent time in the off week looking and preparing to play Georgia next week. I mean, that was certainly part of how they spent their off week, was preparing for Georgia. They've admitted as much. So you hope that it's just as simple as a team that was distracted, looking ahead, whatever you want to describe it as. They were not prepared to play in this game today in the same way they've been all season. And that's disappointing, though, in and of itself. It makes you wonder why. And it could be just as simple as they're not football playing robots. They're human beings. They got caught looking ahead. It does happen. Good teams play close games against bad teams when they are looking ahead to playing the biggest game of the season to date. That does happen. But you were in a similar situation with Tulane a few weeks ago, and they just dispatched of Tulane and couldn't do that today. Maybe it's different, if they execute better on fourth down or just kick a field goal there. They missed a field goal in there as well. So maybe if the game gets started a little bit better. But, that was the first time this year where you come away from a game, it's their sixth game. And so the first of six where you come away thinking, God, that was ugly. They played poorly today. And I mean, even after the Kentucky win, it got off to a weird start, but they recovered nicely and ended up playing well for three quarters in Lexington. You can't really say any of that today. They settled in a little bit in the second half, but ugly, ugly football game. And the last thing that you wanted to see before a trip to Athens. So, yeah, there you go. Disappointing performance, but a win is a win. I almost tweeted this, but I didn't think the burner accounts would understand the sarcasm. I was about to say, and like with a couple of exclamation points that Ole Miss has, with the win, Ole Miss has gotten to bowl eligibility. I almost did that. I'm glad I didn't. But we will read your comments. That's kind of why we're here, aren't we? And we'll do that after I tell you the podcast is brought to you in part by Advantage Business Systems. Check them out online at absms.com. Advantage Business Systems has you covered for all of your Mississippi office technology needs. Tell them I sent you. You'll get a complimentary office technology assessment. So you tell them what your business needs, copiers and printers, mail machines, whatever it is, technology in the office. absms.com will perform an assessment for you on me. Also, the podcast is brought to you by Priority One Bank. They make you their priority every day with their online banking platform. It's a one-stop shop. All you need is an internet connection, and you can do whatever it is that you need to do with your money because Priority One Bank makes you their priority. All right, that was horrible to watch. What was that? OMG, that was a loss in my book. Well, it was not a loss, but I hear what you're saying. How far do they fall in the rankings? Not far. They won the game. They won the game. I mean, Indiana's got a lead right now over Oregon. But no, they did win the game, but they could fall a spot or two for sure. Well, at least they won that type of sloppy game this year. Didn't last year. That is true. Please reassure you. I'm genuinely in the worst mood. I will reassure you. That does happen to football teams sometimes. It was not a banner day at all. They played really poorly. But you've seen them play an A game, and their A game is capable of beating anybody. The last time you watched them play on that exact field went much differently than it did today. And so, look, they played poorly. Time to bring Austin back. Why? Expand on that for me. Why? Why is it time to bring Austin back? I saw so much of that early in this game today, and it really surprised me a lot, to be honest with you. And maybe Lane Kiffin decides that Austin Simmons gets to come back after weeks off having played poorly in his only road start in his career, that Athens is the place to bring him back. But I want you to show your work a little bit on why, because it's not like today was the only game that you've gotten from Trinidad Chambliss. Because I don't know what you saw or what anybody saw in the first 2 weeks that tells you that Simmons could have done what Trinidad did to LSU or what he did to Arkansas, even. You have 3 games of super high level quarterback play against better teams. And he struggles in the first half of a sleepy game in which the entire team around him struggled. And you want to go right back to Simmons, who I don't understand. I mean, it's an emotional thing to me. I mean, there was a lot of emotional reaction. There is no way you can convince me that the Simmons that you saw play this season is ready now to do to LSU what Trinidad did. And so he throws a few incompletions in the first half, and suddenly everything that you've seen him do so far is out of the window, and then bring back the guy that had 4 interceptions in 2 games. I mean, that's what you're suggesting here, and that doesn't make any sense to me at all. He had a bad game. It was certainly not his best game or anything close to it. But does that mean you throw away your 3-game sample size of his play against better competition and just bring in the guy that had them in a hole in Lexington because of poor throws and bad decision making? I don't see that at all. And again, maybe Lane sees it differently, but I think the Trinidad sucks go to Simmons stuff today was hyper emotional, and there's a reason Trinidad played the whole game. I mean, Simmons not really 100% anyway, but come on, have you already forgotten about the other 3 games that he's played this season? Have you already forgotten about that? Survive in advance, yeah. That game was more stressful than the LSU game. Agree with you there. Kewan Lacey, that is all. Without Lacey, they lose big time. I agree. Going to forget that ever happened and glad they're undefeated. Yeah. Play bad against bad opponents. Save your good games for the good opponents. You could play good against bad opponents too. That is possible. Kewan Lacey deserves a medal for valor. No kidding. I sure hope he got his flowers in the post-game speech in the locker room. I'm still, trying to scroll Twitter and see if there's any quotes. Apparently, Kiffin refused to answer whether or not he considered making a change at quarterback. Well, he didn't. So I guess it doesn't really matter if he considered it because he didn't. Lane Kiffin quote, "It's on me. Maybe I have to figure out how to be better with these 11 a.m. kicks. Not pleased with how our team performed today." Okay, so far nothing really crazy from Kiffin. Here's more. Trinidad started slow, missed a critical in route on 3rd and long, did make some plays overall. He did some good things and made a really critical play, but did not play consistently like he had. It is what it is. You're not going to play perfect every week. Yeah, I don't think I don't think that switching quarterbacks is the smart thing to do right now. Ole Miss sleepwalking. You hope that's all it was. And look, they've played much better against better teams, so that's likely what it is. Every week is different. Got to get rid of Charlie Weiss. I'm not blaming him solely for that performance at all, but his play calling was definitely suspect too, and his play calling being a factor in some losses last year. Well, but if you're going to be mad at him today, what about the first 5 games? And also, it's not his fault that his quarterback could not complete passes on open routes. I mean, Trinidad had a bad game today. Offensive line wasn't particularly good today. It's just an ugly day, but you can't just fire people because of an off game, especially when, I mean, I don't necessarily think the play calling was as bad as the way the players executed what they were asked to do. 2 losses coming, maybe, but that makes the playoff. So Pretty sure Lane wanted to play a very vanilla type game on both sides. Doesn't excuse the poor discipline and inaccuracy on the offense. Defense was leaving too much space. And here's the thing with me, and you guys heard me talk about this last year as well. I don't think, and he's never going to change. He is who he is. Lane Kiffin posts on Instagram a graphic about it's him and Steve Spurrier, and Steve Spurrier is the man. That's who I want to be. And Kiffin shares that. And of course, it's trolling, right? It's very likely trolling the Florida fan base, but it's just when you're drawing attention to something that your people that are paying your insane salary and all of your staff salary and the players on the field, and you're kind of trolling them by doing stuff like that. If you're going to do that, then your team better play well. And so since they played like crap, in my opinion, you guys are free to disagree with me. You might think I'm crazy. Totally fine. But in my opinion, if you're going to do this, hey, look, I wanted to be Spurrier. Oh my gosh, people are worried about the Florida job, and I want to be. If you're going to do all that stuff and draw attention to that, and your team plays like crap, that's a problem to me. And he's never going to change. So I mean, it's almost a waste of time talking about it. But I think just like last year, he trolled you guys with the alligator pictures and all that. It happened again, and his team played like crap afterwards. And to me, it's a really bad look. And it should stop. It won't, but it should stop, because I don't think it's fair to you guys, one, to get trolled by your own head coach. Again, it's who he is, and he'll never change. But I don't think that's right to troll your own fan base as the head coach, and then also to troll your own fan base and then turn around and have your team play like garbage is problematic to me. I believe every one of their scoring drives was aided by a penalty on 3rd and 4th. Yeah. Back to poor discipline and decision-making. Looks out of position. Who was out of position? Are you talking about on defense? In your opinion, what do you think was causing the offensive struggles? All of it. The offensive line wasn't great today. Quarterback struggled, especially early. All of the above. At the very least, they'll pay attention this week. Makes you wonder how a young team will react. Yeah. Hope the excuse was they were practicing for Georgia, didn't spend any time on Washington State. I'm afraid it's that they're overrated. It could be. All 3 of Washington State's drives were extended on a penalty that would have otherwise ended the drive. Add in the 4th and goal fail and red zone penalty plus fumble, and this game could have been 24 plus if they were awake. Yeah. 2 of the touchdowns looked like the corner safeties got mixed up and led to wide open receivers. Continuation of sleepy teams after a bye continues. I mean, Kiffin did kind of warn everybody about this. He does not like bye weeks for whatever reason. Here it is. Lane Kiffin, quote. I hope this is a full quote. Thought the red zone offense showed up about like our student section. Take shots at the fans when your team plays like crap as 32-point favorites. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't excuse it. I know the student section cleared out, and that's a whole debate or whatever, but I'm not interested in fan shaming. I'm not. The team didn't show up today. I think it's fair that the students didn't too if the team's not going to. But that's just me. Looks like they hit a couple of homecoming parties on the way to the game. Is that still a thing? I never cared about homecoming when I was in school, but it just come off good, but sometimes overrun plays. There's a handful of sack opportunities that they missed. Who cares where you fall in the rankings? Yeah, I mean, just take care of business and it's fine, yeah. Next time people count their chickens before they hatch, I want you to remember this game. But, yeah, I hear you. Simmons starts the Georgia game. Why? Maybe he does. Maybe he does, but why? What would be the football reason after seeing his only 2 starts, and then Trinidad's 4? Why is that the better option to go to Athens and start? tell me more. I'm certainly not right often, to be honest. But tell me more. How do you feel about the team after today? I don't think I've really changed my opinion too much, to be honest with you. I really don't think I've changed much. You're worried about the Egg Bowl this season because it's after a bye week 2. Bye weeks are not good and have always been a pattern. Hold on. But it is a shorter week, though. I mean, only by 1 day. But I have a feeling it'll be easier to keep their attention after a bye for Mississippi State than it is Washington State before Georgia. Leaving the stadium thoughts. Washington State is the best fans in the world. Absolute trap game. Looked right past. Hope the Georgia prep starts next week. Another 1-score win. Heart attack time. I mean, that's 4 1-score wins this season. I mean, last year they played 3 of them, lost all 3. So if you're looking for some more silver lining, there it is. So Chambliss will need to get that deep ball back in play. Georgia will act like a snake, choking the offense down if he can't. He missed some intermediate throws today, which was out of character for him, it seems. So he didn't play great, but the offensive line also had poor pass protection. Yeah, he was under pressure a lot more than I expected he would be today. Simmons' ability to throw downfield is the difference. But then, okay, but is that the only thing that quarterbacks do is just throw deep passes? What else do they do? I really think that people are overreacting to one game when you have a sample size larger than one. I mean, you've got 2 from one starting and now 4 from the other. And when you compare the way they've played and how they've looked, how can you say that Simmons is the better option in Athens to win the football game? Just by deep passes? But what else? We'll see. I mean, maybe Kiffin goes to Simmons in Athens for his 3rd start of his career, 2nd on the road, coming off of an ankle injury, missing a month and a half. And if he does, maybe they win. But I think there's some revisionist history going on with what the 2 of them have been before today. Betting your life on Georgia. I'm a Coug fan. Cannot figure out why Ole Miss is so overhyped. Lane was sweating midway through the 4th quarter. I mean, I think you're a little bit smarter than to use just one game as a justification for a pick. It's not emotional when your starter is not just a little off, but a lot off in his game. Yes, the stakes are high. And yes, he was off this game. He played poorly. But you have other games that he has played at a extremely high level. The last game that he played was 400 yards of offense against LSU. Exceptional throwing the football, making plays with his legs, controlling the offense, being accurate, being under control. And suddenly all that gets thrown out of the window. That's the part that's emotional to me, is all of the things that you have seen, you've totally forgotten. And now just go back to the first guy who put you in a hole against the worst team in the league. I don't know. We're just going to have to disagree there. But now that I've said all this, Lane is going to 100% see it the way that you do. And yeah. Focus on the O-line today. Literally lost count of how many times they were just standing around after missing blocks. No, Jake, you can't question the offensive line. Can't do it. 3 things. Did they spell Lacey enough? He looked tired at times. That was a big key of mine going into the game. Is Perkins playing the right position? Yes, for the next level. Will Simmons be QB1 before the season ends? Depends on how Trinidad plays in Athens, I guess. Favored by 34, won by 3. Of course, it's reasonable for Ole Miss fans to have concerns. Absolutely, it is. In your opinion, they lost Simmons today? Well, then you lose Simmons today. You can't coach scared of players transferring. Can't do it. And just I'm very consistent on that. If you think one player is better than the other, then you play him. It doesn't matter if you're afraid the other is going to transfer. That's just how I feel. I think Kiffin is saving Austin for Georgia. That, with all due respect, that doesn't make any sense. To save him for Georgia, he would have, if he was going to play next week, he would have needed the reps today. Coming off of he just needs reps in general. He's very inexperienced. So if he was always planning to play him next week, then he would have played today too. What do I think of that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty at the end? Was it Joe Judge that ran into the official? Whoever it was knew. Knew right away that it was a penalty. You can't be in the white and run into an official. You can't do that. I do like this quote from Lane, though. That's not what we're supposed to do. We get paid a lot. They get paid a lot. That ain't the product we're supposed to put out. Apparently, he told the team that. I like that. I like that a lot from him. Wasn't just Trinidad. The majority of the team looked like they slipped. Oh, they were slipped. Yeah. The bye week blues happens to teams who are hot, seen it dozens of times. It chokes rhythm and momentum. Didn't help that the fans didn't fill the stadium. That stuff matters. I'm just going to have to disagree a lot with the chat today. I'm not, and I'm very consistent with this as well. I'm not a fan shamer. I never will be. It's Washington State at 11 o'clock in the morning. I understand if a family, and by the way, crowd was pretty good today. It's not like it was horrible. The student section left, and that hurt the look of it. But I will never fan shame. It was a morning kickoff against Washington State. If every seat wasn't full, if people weren't jacked up with energy, I understand why. I get it. The team didn't show up either, but blaming the crowd for the team's performance is not something that I will ever do, ever. But I am overly pro fan. I always think of the fans first and will defend you guys with every platform that I have, because I think that you guys get the short end of the stick all the time, constantly. There's an extra home game for you this year, so you're having to spend so much money already. Your tailgate tent has gone up so much. My God, parking off campus is like $100 for conference games for you to get on a bus and get bussed into campus. It's ridiculous how much you guys have to pay for this stuff. And if you decided to take a week off, I understand, because not everybody's made of money. Not all 65,000 people that go to Ole Miss football games have a bunch of money that they can just drop everything every weekend and spend a few grand up in Oxford. So if there were empty seats today, and there were some, that's fine to me. That's fine. Doesn't bother me at all. Team needs to play better. Think Kiffin is saving Austin for next year. May not be around. Need to be grateful they're 6-0. This can happen to anyone in 2025. The next 2 weeks will be the two true litmus tests. Chambliss is the guy. They got played by the bye week and looking ahead. Bye week always gets good teams. Embarrassing. Still the same Ole Miss. Can't play well after a big game. When you say here, I'm going to push back on that. When you say still the same Ole Miss, what do you mean by that? The same one like under Lane Kiffin? Because I mean they're 6-0 and they'll be ranked somewhere around number 5 again. They have 3 SEC wins already. I don't. I don't know what you mean by still the same Ole Miss. Yeah, they didn't play well today, but they're in pretty incredible shape considering that this was supposed to be a rebuild season anyway. Not a single person expected Ole Miss to be the number 4 team in the country on October 11th. So they're in fine shape at the moment. Lane is worried about winning, progressing, and recruiting. He's going to do the best he can to have the best product out on the field. These are kids. They hear and see what the fans do. This game happens. It does. Judge him after the next 2 weeks. Yeah, but I mean, if they lose the next 2 games and win the rest of them and make the playoff, it's hard to judge just these next 2 games. But these next 2 games will certainly tell us a lot. It will certainly tell us a lot. So it's interesting. It's hard to react to games like this because it's like they did win, and I mean they're number 4. They're all these things now, but they did play poorly. And if they play like that, they're going to get, forgive my language, everybody, they're going to get their asses kicked next week. I mean, absolutely just walloped next week. So, but if they play the way they did against LSU, they've got a real chance to go to Athens and win. We'll just see what they can do. Trinidad's got to be much better next week. I assume there's going to be a lot of games played with that publicly anyway. And we'll see. I mean, there's a very real chance that that I'm wrong, because I often am. But we'll see. We will see. Appreciate you, MC. Thank you, man. Really, really glad that you're here. Really appreciate the super chat, man. Totally unnecessary, but thank you. Thank you, man. Really appreciate you. Does seem every time coming off of a bye, Ole Miss plays sloppy. Their head coach hates him. He very publicly hates bye weeks. He was not shy about that at all. Not shy about that at all. So, and they're saying all the right things. I mean, I'm trying to read through these press conference quotes right now as they're happening. And I mean, Cam Franklin saying the same thing. Just unacceptable, all that good stuff. Should have been better prepared, those kind of things. So, they're saying all the right things. Good on them for that. They understand that they're so much better than they played today. They are so much better than they played today. So, appreciate you, Jeff. Aiken, South Carolina. Awesome, man. Well, as you can see, although my Paladins are getting smoked right now, so not real thrilled about that. But Ole Miss gets the win, 24-21. They survived. That is what they did. They survived. And at least that happened. And now buckle up and get ready for what Georgia presents to them next week. And, man, Georgia's got a tough one tonight. Georgia's got a really tough one tonight in Jordan-Hare. So kick back, relax, enjoy the football for the rest of your day. And your team's 6-0, way ahead of schedule on the rebuild anyway. And have fun. Enjoy it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night to recap the weekend. I'll see you guys then. Really appreciate you. Enjoy yourselves. Your team won a game. It was horrible. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I agree with you, Baron. This is good for Trinidad. It's good for everybody on this team. It's good for the fact that they won this game. They can really, I mean, again, forgive my language, earmuffs, they can get after. He can't hear me. They can get after their ass in practice this week and get humble everybody if they needed to and get their focus back. I didn't expect a game like this to happen, but I'm not terribly shocked. And they need to settle in and play better. We'll see if they can. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Really, really appreciate you. And again, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. See you then.